Welcome back to Great Day Houston. Art comes in many forms. You just saw it right there in that chandelier. The latest exhibit at the Museum of Fine Arts Houston focuses on wearable art by one of the world's most famous designers. Cindy, a lot of times when people think of art, they think immediately of a canvas and a paintbrush, right? But art comes in so many different forms.
It really does, and particularly for the Museum of Fine Arts Houston, where we're an encyclopedic institution, we have the opportunity to show people the diversity in art, including fashion as art.
Oscar de la Renta is such a great story of how a lot of us set out on a path of knowing what we want to do when we grow up, right? And all of a sudden, life has other plans. Explain that about Oscar.
So Oscar was very artistic as a child growing up in the Dominican Republic. At 19, he sets off for Madrid, Spain, where he's always wanted to go to study painting. But as you said, life changes, and he was a great draftsman, and his fashion drawings are noticed by Cristobal Balenciaga, the great, important Spanish couturier. This is the 1950s, where he's hired first as an illustrator.
And then the rest, as we say, is history.
It is.
It's one thing to create a beautiful gown. It's another thing to have a celebrity wearing it. And of course, one of the first people that got our attention in America was Jackie O.
Oscar had a long history of dressing first ladies, and it all does start with Jackie O. He dressed Hillary Clinton, Laura Bush, Michelle Obama. It really speaks to the timelessness and the beauty and the fabrics and the cut and elegance of his work that so many first ladies chose to wear his dresses for special occasions.
All right, let's take a look at some of the elegance in the exhibit. All right, Cindy, I think I belong with these people right here. This is an example of kind of how you group some of his designs.
Exactly. The first room in the exhibition is devoted to the influence of Spain. In terms of the Spanish influence here, you see everything from the ruffles of the flamenco dancers. Oscar loved music, loved flamenco in particular. He also was fascinated by bullfighting and the matadors' outfits. And so you see that in the bolero jacket here on this incredible dress ensemble. The closures for this broad-tail coat, which also have that jet beading on it.
All right, Beyonce had a song, if you want it and you like it, put a ring on it. In this case, is if you want it and you like it, put a dress on it. And Oscar put a dress on it.
He did.
Let's take a look at that one. As we said earlier, if a celebrity wears it, we all want it, creates demand, and makes the designer a celebrity as well.
It's true, and this dress that Oscar de la Renta designed for Beyonce, which she wore for an editorial spread in Vogue magazine, is just simply phenomenal. When you think of Oscar, you think of these really grand ball gowns, and here you see the ruffles, also referencing Spanish flamenco. As Beyonce would have walked in it, would have swished and moved with her in a way that was very fluid, and the dresses are actually light. You're not tightly corseted so you can't move or breathe.
And am I wrong to think that with the ruffles I could eat a little more because it would hide things? am I
From
wrong
the
for
waist
that?
down.
Yeah, right. Everybody saw this dress. It was plastered on all the magazines as she snagged the ultimate bachelor at the time.
Amal Clooney's wedding dress. It's true, it's an incredible coup for us. This is the first time that she has ever lent her wedding dress. Oscar de la Renta started doing bridal in 2006 in terms of a formal line, but he always did custom wedding dresses.
Yeah, in fact, one custom one is right over here, a
right,
special
for
person.
his stepdaughter, Eliza Bolin, who was married in 1998. This dress in particular has 8 different layers to it.
Oh, wow.
It is absolutely magnificent.
Okay,
So.
I say I do to all 8 layers. Right. It's absolutely beautiful.
It is, it is.
Cindy, at times there are some of Oscar's dresses that almost look like they're a costume, which is interesting because it's usually one of a kind, meant to be seen, and you are the leading lady in it.
When Sofia Coppola directed her movie Marie Antoinette, Oscar was inspired to create a dress that was worn by Kirsten Dunst in a Vogue editorial spread that came out at the time of the movie. And here he's looking at the kind of 18th century dress that Queen Marie Antoinette would have worn. And you have this period detail, the kind of ruffling on the corset, as well as this grand ball skirt with trimmed with its ruffle. It takes you immediately to the idea of the French court.
Yeah.
And Kirsten Dunst wearing it, that parallel between her in her real life as Kirsten Dunst, the actress, but also as Marie Antoinette in the movie. It just made for an incredible pairing.
This one was worn by then First Lady Laura Bush.
She chose this unbelievably elegant ensemble for a state dinner that she and the president were hosting in honor of the country of Poland. It's actually two pieces, a jacket and a skirt that's embellished with beading and sequins and comes together with that blue sash bow. Oscar loved bows, and it was a way of him kind of highlighting a certain part of the dress or the body, but also giving that splash of color right here.
He used kind of a loose form of a bow to highlight, I believe it was Taylor Swift's body as well.
It's true. On the back of her dress that she wore to one of the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute Grand Gala balls. This is a dress that Taylor Swift commissioned from Oscar de la Renta and still owns. It's not part of the archive, but she still has it. And here you see this very dramatic bow that's coming on the back of her dress.
I want to end with just kind of getting a little bit more of the appreciation of what it takes to get an exhibit like this together. I mean, we see it all come together so beautifully and you think, okay, there it is, but there's a lot of work that goes into this.
There is. We had over a year of planning, but the actual installation itself is very labor intensive. It was a month straight of dressing mannequins. It's not just so simple that you put a dress on a mannequin and put it on a platform. Each one of the mannequins is custom shaped for the dress. There are petticoats, there's padding, there's all sorts of things, and then of course the accessorizing.
Speaking of custom-made mannequins, that ultimate example of that is the dress over there that stands by itself.
It's a dress that Allison Seraphim from Houston wore to another one of the Met's Costume Institute galas, and Andre had this terrific idea because it has this shooting star embroidery that we should have it on a turntable so that it would spin and move and catch the light. You can't do that with a mannequin though, because you're worried with the movement it's going to topple over. So instead we created a torso and to have that sticks up front.
The Museum of Fine Arts Houston is a star in this city and a star in this country. We want to thank you very much for sharing time with us and taking us through this exhibit.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to have it here, and we hope that your viewers will come and see it. We know they'll enjoy it.
The Oscar de la Renta exhibit is running now through January 28th at the Museum of Fine Arts Houston.